Hello. So let's start learning more about the composition rules in storyboarding or in anything in general. There are many rules. If you have seen a lot of the composition rules in the internet, there are going to be tons, let's say like a diagonal or the invert, not this, invert Y, something like that. But I feel like the most universal one is going to be rule of third, which is this one. And golden ratio. I chose this too because you can put golden ratio inside of the rule of third and it would not break anything. It can work well together, in my opinion. All right, so let's get started with the rule of third. The general idea is you want to put anything that is like a focal point on these four intersections. The most common one going to be this top left because it's the most easiest for the viewers to see. Plus, from the rules, most viewers will focus on this particular intersection first. And that's the reason why, let's go to this piece. That's the reason why I put her eyes or one of the main focal points at this specific location. It's already planned out. So the viewers are going to focus this first before they found this out. All right, so let's get back. And for this to work, you can use any part of the body. Usually it's going to be the head because it's the most easiest. So let me draw it out. So let's say you have a character. I might take a while to draw. Yeah. All right. So you have this character, and let's say she's right here. I'm not going to draw a very detailed version. I just want to give you a general idea. Right. So this is the most basic one that you can do. So you can put anything in here at the intersection where it's like the, let's say the focal points. And you can now put the backgrounds in. Usually the backgrounds, you gotta focus on whether you want your backgrounds to be higher or lower is the horizontal line, basically what I'm talking about. So the horizontal line can depends on the angle of your camera and stuff. But for now, I'm just going to use this horizontal line. And as you can see, I usually put the horizontal line on this line of the rule of third. Or you can put the horizontal line like here. But it depends on your scenes. Like so. So I'm going to put the horizontal line like here. And with the horizontal line, now you can start adding in some more people in your scene, basically. So let's say there's a people in your scene, like so. So this is like all depends on the type of scenes that you are working on. But this is like the most basic. I mean, it doesn't look good because it's too basic and you didn't include anything else besides like this, like a intersection. So the way you make this a bit more interesting is to add in some, let's say, some of the foregrounds element. So you can start by, let's say, this is the shoulder of someone. You can see this a lot in like a film. You can use like a film composition as well because it's the same rule in the anime composition. So like you can just copy and paste this. If you're already good with the film composition, this topic will be very easy for you because in my opinion, I feel like it's almost the same. There's gonna be some difference a bit because since when we are drawing, we're not restricted by the rules in like a natural world and the rules of like the camera lens and stuff. So you can go a bit more chaotic with how you compose your work. Let me draw the scenes out. I'm not really a good sketch artist, so I my sketch might not be very clean and stuff. I usually go very loosely with the sketch, and because I will adjust anything later, so my sketch is going to be very messy and very unproportional. Alright, so this is like most basic rules. I usually going to put the eye on the intersection just because the main focus of most of the anime is on the eye. So you can put the focal points or the focal points on the eye basically. And once we include this kind of like a foreground element, now your scene is going to be more cinematic. Plus, it's going to be much more interesting if you do that. And that's why usually my work, let me put this here. Usually my work, I put almost everything on the almost the intersection of the part in intersection basically. Still here. It might not be, you don't really have to like 100% fixed on this intersection. You can like move it up and down a bit to make it a bit more natural, because if you like force everything onto like an intersection, it's going to be very forced and it's going to be very rigid. So try to like move it away a bit, but try to keep the idea of putting the focal point on the intersection, since this one is the whole face is almost on the intersection, so it's going to be on the focal points basically. All right, so another thing that you can do is you can tilt your camera a bit or tilt your composition. So maybe you have this like a tilt in your work. Well, you can do that. This tilt is called a dust tilt. It's basically used when like there's like a complications in the scene. So let's say the emotional is quite tense, or there are some uncertainties with the characters. They're going to use this tilt to make it a bit more like chaotic. And don't forget the horizontal line. Okay, or maybe right here. Yeah, right. So usually I will put anything that is interesting on this point or anything right here too. You can try to play with it a bit more. You can try to go on the right side and use the eye. Usually it's going to be the eye. She's sticking her tongue out for no reasons. I don't know, man. Didn't I didn't plan what I would like to draw. Okay. All right. If you feel like it's too like too this is like a bit too uh it too close to like the end of the canvas, you can drag this here, or you can use the right eye instead, like so. It worked the same. So usually the landmark is gonna be the eye. I love that because it seems to be very cool. All right. You can use other part of the body, so maybe you can use the hand as well. So let's use this intersection. I'm going to, let's say, draw a hand. And there are going to be, let's say, an object on the hand, something like this, say the crystal and stuff, right? You can use the hand as well, usually. Or if you want to stick to a more simpler way, you can fit everything onto the middle. So just draw everything in the middle and you will be fine. This slot right here, like this whole slot, you can just fit, let's say your character face onto this slot only. And it's still going to look cinematic. So let's say you draw this. I'm going to draw a more male this time. It's gonna look still cinematic because if you fit everything in like this part, it's gonna be very easy for the viewers to see. And this could be anything else. Let's say like another people. All right. As you can see, it still looks cinematic. Say people, and there's like a backgrounds and stuff. Say there's like a tower, something like this, to lead the viewer eye, like so. All right. So I have made some interactions. The leading line. So leading line is very important when you want your work to be more interesting. Well, let's say in this piece, when there are no leading line, let's say I just draw this and I put in the horizon line and I be done with it, it's gonna look very boring. No matter how much you try to include elements in your scene, it's gonna look very boring. However, if I add in, let's say, a trail effects into, let's say here, there's like a trail moving onto, I mean, not onto, moving into the character, and let's say it's going into his eyes, and this trail is moving quite a lot, like so. Once you add in this effect, now the piece is going to be very interesting because there's like a clear leading line towards the character, and therefore your work is going to be more interesting. Same with this. You can use a leading line on the backgrounds itself as well. So let's say this is the scene and they are standing in like a enclosed space, and there's like a perspective line which can be used as a leading line as well, like so, moving into the character, and it's going to create a more cinematic feeling in terms. Okay. All right, so this is like a window and stuff. So leading line is very important, and this piece is very clear. You can use this telephone to use it as a leading line. So very important, I recommend you to use this.